In the previous video, I told you that 8/24 was a day to be watchful and vigilant because it was the perfect date for the next satanic orchestrated ritual event to occur. Well, on August 24th, 2020, Kenosha, Wisconsin became the center of nationwide protests after police shot a black man in front of his children the day before on August 23rd. This event offers us a perfect example and proof, if you will, of what I've been preaching in my videos, namely how satanic occult practitioners of magic carry out orchestrated blood sacrifice ritual events. There are several ways to recognize these orchestrated events because they all include certain elements. For the purpose of this study, we will list the elements as follows. Number 1, Freemasonic symbolism. Each event will always be connected to some sort of Freemasonic symbolism. Number 2, numerology. Numerology will usually be embedded in the events through the dates, times, and or ages of the victims. Number 3, etymology. The etymology of the names of the victims and the location of the event will also hold significant clues. Number 4, connection, interrelation, or correlation. There will always be something that connects the current incident to some prior satanic ritual event in some way. Number 5, the presence of an overseer. Certain individuals are attached to certain events after they occur, and it appears that these individuals are put in place to act in the capacity of an overseer to manage these events in order to ensure the desired outcome. That being said, let's examine the shooting of Jacob Blake. We'll start with the example of the overseer first, and then we will explore the other elements of a satanic orchestrated event. Our first clue that the shooting of Jacob Blake and the subsequent riots and unrest is an orchestrated satanic Freemasonic ritual event is the presence of Benjamin Crump, who we have labeled the overseer. As you well know, Benjamin Crump was involved in the high-profile and racially charged cases of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Kendrick Johnson, Corey Jones, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and now Jacob Blake. You ever wondered to yourself, why is Benjamin Crump always the lawyer selected for these cases that involve the shooting or killing of so-called blacks by police? Are they telling us that there are no other black lawyers in America that are qualified to handle these cases? Of course there are. So then there must be some ulterior motive for his repeated appearances for each of these high-profile cases. I submit to you that Benjamin Crump is selected for these cases because they are all orchestrated events, and his job is to manage these cases and to use the heated emotions connected with these incidents to manipulate the opinions and reactions of the so-called black community in such a way that it furthers the goals of the ruling elite and the secret societies that he has pledged his allegiance to, the ones he answers to and serves. His own bio page declares that he is a member of Sigma Pi Phi Boule and the Michael R. Moore Lodge 764 PHA of Free and Accepted Masons. This fact connects him and every high-profile case involving the shooting or killing of so-called blacks that he has represented to number 1, the element of Freemasonic symbolism, number 4, connection, interrelation, or correlation to other satanic events, and element number 5, the presence of an overseer. The symbol for the Boule is a griffin or sphinx, which is a guardian animal. They are the gatekeepers who defend their masters. This is the role Benjamin Crump plays. He is a gatekeeper for the ruling class, a servant for the members of the higher secret societies. If you are not familiar with the Black Boule, you should look up Steve Coakley. But here's a short explanation by Coakley.
When the bankers began to take over the American cities in the 70s, New York 75, Cleveland 77, Chicago 79, and here in California they used Proposition 13 to suck up the surplus out the budget, and bankers began to take over from municipalities the governing of the cities. And as I was scratching, I could not figure out how was there such black complicity in this centralization of worldwide power, the New World Order. It's on the dollar bill, pyramid by white men who never built one, never saw one, but they emulated this symbol. And now comes a series of societies, and now comes forth this black one in 1904. Boule, B-O-U-L-E, advisors to the king, and the Boule tend to make up a aristocracy. We talked in the park about the 10%. Not in the sense of us in exclusivity, but them in the terms of deputizing 10% of the population to assure that the 90% never catch on.
Clearly, Crump's involvement with the Boule connects him with the black aristocracy that is used to control the lower classes of blacks and to help bring about the plans of their masters in the formation of the New World Order. If you take a step back, it's easy to see how the American public is constantly being manipulated and led around by their noses through orchestrated events and the propaganda disseminated by the media. When the political narrative of the ruling elite changes, the current crisis that America is facing at the time changes as well to fit the new narrative. What I mean is this: when the priority was gun control and attacking the Second Amendment here in America, we saw a rash of mass shootings occur, like the mass shooting at the Walmart in El Paso, on a busy street in Dayton, Ohio, or at the concert in Las Vegas. We saw mass shootings at places of worship like Sutherland Springs Church in Texas, on college campuses like Virginia Tech, and at schools like Sandy Hook and Stoneman Douglas. And with that, the narrative of gun control was pushed down the throats of the American public.
Either represent the people or get out. The people demand a law banning the sale of assault weapons. The people demand we prohibit the sale of high-capacity magazines. The people demand universal background checks. Stand for us or beware, the voters are coming.
Currently, the narrative that is being pushed is revolution, anarchy, and the complete destruction of the current system of government by the nation state, which will eventually lead to America's subordination to a global government. To that end, we are now seeing the constant killing of so-called black men and women by police, followed by the subsequent riots, unrest, or revolution, as in the case of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and now Jacob Blake. The fact that Crump is a member of the Boule and Freemasonry, both of which are secret societies, means that he has undergone strange rites and rituals and taken oaths of loyalty to these organizations. Therefore, it is extremely naive and bordering on willful ignorance for anyone to believe that any person who is bound by oaths of loyalty to a secret organization would ever have your best interests at heart, especially when your interests are diametrically opposed to the interests of the secret society that they serve. Now let's take a look at number 2 on our list, the numerology embedded in this event. The shooting occurred on Sunday, August 23rd. The number 23 represents Principia Discordia, the goddess of chaos, and also connects to the 33rd degree Freemasonic mantra, order out of chaos. The number 23 also connects to Michael Jordan and the release of the series The Last Dance, which was released on April 19th, 2020, and is a very significant date. If you watched my video, The Last Dance, Dance Macabre, you are aware that Jordan, number 23, who played for the Chicago Bulls, is connected to Obama, who is also from Chicago and was featured in The Last Dance as well. The Last Dance is actually a reference to the Dance of Death. The Dance Macabre consists of the dead, or a personification of death, summoning representatives from all walks of life to dance along to the grave. The significance of The Last Dance being released on 4/19 is that the following day is 4/20. Hold that thought, because we'll come back to it in a moment. It should be noted that Jordan won 6 rings, which is a reference to Saturn or Satan, who is related to the star of Remphan, and the bull god Moloch, who is a false messiah figure. In a recent video, we just spoke about The Rock, who is a representation of the false messiah and who used the moniker the Black Boule, setting up a concert pushing global unity in your involvement as global citizens. This also connects to Kamala Harris, who is of Hindu Indian descent and who is considered an Aryan Brahmin descendant from the Hindu deity Brahma. Further, this connects to a local story concerning a bull that was roaming the streets of Cooper City on August 25th.
I want to get you right to that cell phone video. Of course, this was captured on cell phone video. So this is where you can see the bull. This is walking down North Saratoga Drive in the Trellises neighborhood. This is just off of Embassy Drive. Take a look at this second piece of video. This is from a Ring doorbell camera that shows the bull walking just a few inches away from someone's front door, another home in this area. This was right around 4 o'clock Tuesday morning. We spoke to the man who shot that cell phone video about what this was like.
Everyone, pretty much, even from, my dad's age to kids younger than me, all videoing, and they were laughing. They thought
Notice the person who filmed the bull is wearing a Monster energy drink face mask. The Monster energy drink logo uses the letter Vav 3 times. Vav is the Hebrew number for 6. Therefore, the logo represents the number 666. Monster's slogan is Unleash the Beast, which is a reference to Revelation 9:11. Notice the time of this report is 9/11, which is also a reference to Revelation 9:11, the rise of the king of the bottomless pit. This is the monster that they are referring to. Finally, the mascot for the Cooper City High School is a cowboy, which connects to the false messiah or rider on the white horse found in Revelation 6:2, as well as Cowboy, the close friend of Nipsey Hussle, who also represented a false messiah. Clearly, the rabbit hole goes deep, but I digress. Now, back to 823. When we look at the date 823, it connects Kobe and Michael Jordan together. At that time, Kobe wore number 8 and played for the Los Angeles Lakers, which is a reference to the lost angels of the Lake of Fire. Therefore, 823 together gives us a representation of the horned god and false messiah and the fallen angels from the Lake of Fire. Once again, a representation of Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. The protests for this shooting were given the national spotlight on Monday, August 24th, 2020. 8 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 equals 18, which gives us the number 666. August 24th is also 824, and the number 824 connects to Kobe's death, since Kobe wore both the number 8 and the number 24. This gives us element number 4, connection, interrelation, or correlation with another satanic ritual event. Kobe was known as the Black Mamba, a deadly serpent that is also known as death incarnate and is associated with one-eye symbolism, connecting it with the devil and Satan.
In Africa, the saying goes, in the bush, an elephant can kill you, a leopard can kill you, and a black mamba can kill you. But only with the mamba, and this has been true in Africa since the dawn of time, is death sure. Hence its handle, death incarnate. Pretty cool.
If you replace the letter M with the letter O in Mamba, you get an anagram for Obama as the serpent and incarnation of death. We know from scripture that the devil has the power of death, since Hebrews chapter 2 verse 14 declares, "Forasmuch then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is, the devil." 824 also connects to Obama, since Obama was born in August and he is number 44, or 2 4s. 824 could also be interpreted as the number 88, since 4 plus 4 equals 8. According to reports, Jacob Blake was shot while trying to enter his vehicle, and his children, who are ages 3, 5, and 8, were in the vehicle as well. 3 plus 5 equals 8. Therefore, the age of the children also hides the number 88. The letter H is the 8th letter in the alphabet, and the number 88 is used by Aryans to represent the salute Heil Hitler for the German dictator, who was a type of Antichrist. Hitler and the Aryans also connect back to Kamala Harris's Hindu Indian heritage. The term Aryan was used by the Indo-Aryan people of the Vedic period in ancient India as a religious label for themselves. Remember, Brahmins believe that they are descended from the gods. This connects back to Hitler's Übermensch, or Superman, and Obama's depiction of himself as Superman.
Contrary to the rumors that you've heard, I was not born in a manger. I was actually born on Krypton and sent here by my father, Jor-El, to save the planet Earth.
Moreover, the Nazis' swastika in Hinduism symbolizes the Surya, or sun. Worship of the sun god is connected to worship of Ra, or Horus, the sun god, and one-eye symbolism. Earlier, we were discussing 419, the release date of The Last Dance, which represents the dance of death and is the personification of death, summoning people to the grave. The following day is 420, which just so happens to be Hitler's birthday. This is symbolic of death and resurrection, and I believe it represents the false Messiah and the deadly head wound that the Antichrist will suffer and recover from, but will also be left with one eye as a consequence. 420 also connects back to Obama's speech at Mile High Stadium and his evolution from a man to a god as the rider of the white horse. But not only that, 420 connects to Obama's speech at the American Revolution Museum for the D20, which is also 420 since the letter D is the 4th letter. It should also be noted that the D20 is connected to the 20-sided die in role-playing games of wizards, witchcraft, and Dungeons and Dragons. Remember, I showed you how the pentagram or Baphomet was placed inside of the letter D at the D20. The shooting of Jacob Blake and the subsequent riots can also be connected to revolution through the Society of Jacobins, which was the most influential political club during the French Revolution. As we discussed previously, revolution connects to the spirit of 76, which is the spirit of rebellion, and points to Satan leading the rebellion in heaven. Further, as it turns out, the number 88 is also connected to Mercury, and according to Eliphas Levi, a French sage and occultist from the 1800s, he equated Baphomet, the devil, and Mercury as the same being. This is the reason Baphomet has Mercury's caduceus rising like a phallus from its groin. The caduceus is used as a symbol of healthcare organizations and medical practice in the United States, which connects Baphomet with the coronavirus, or the coronation of the Antichrist through the venom of the deadly serpent, the Black Mamba, which brings us back full circle to Kobe Bryant and the number 824. Now let's take a look at number 3, the etymology of the names connected to this event. The name Jacob means Israel. The name Blake comes from black, which is a name for someone who has dark hair or skin. This is a reference to the black Israelites. The name Kenosha means place of the pike. This is a reference to the 33rd degree Freemason Albert Pike, who wrote Morals and Dogma, which he plagiarized from Eliphas Levi's Dogma and Rituals of High Magic. In Albert Pike's instructions to the 23 Supreme Councils of the world, he wrote, "That which we must say to the crowd is, we worship a God, but it is the God one adores without superstition. The Masonic religion should be by all of us initiates of the high degrees maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, the God of the Christians, whose deeds prove cruelty, perfidy, and hatred of man, barbarism, and repulsion for science, would Adonai and his priests calumniate him? The place of the pike, then, represents a place where Lucifer is worshipped. The name Wisconsin originates from the name given to the Wisconsin River, meaning it lies red, a reference to the Red River. A river of red is symbolic of rivers of blood or bloodshed in war. Therefore, the message found in the etymology of the names involved in this incident is as follows. The Israelites, who have dark hair and dark colored skin, are in a place where Lucifer is worshipped, and because of this, there shall be rivers of blood, bloodshed, and war. This represents the coming of the time of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30 verses 4 through 10 declares, "And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, Fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Revolution through riots and civil unrest, looting and arson as a response to these orchestrated ritual blood sacrifices will only tighten the noose around your neck. But deliverance will come when we turn to the Most High. If you have not given your life to the Most High by accepting the blood sacrifice of Yahushua HaMashiach that was shed on the cross for the redemption of sins, the time to do so is now. Amen. Shalom.